The art of rhetoric was used throughout human history. As an Arabian saying goes, the tongue is sharper than the sword. It's an art capable of creating waves of change powerful enough to channel the course of mankind's future. And it allows one to attract hundreds of thousands of people to come together for one common cause. However, just as the art of rhetoric can be used as a force of good, it can also be used to serve one's selfish ambitions. It doesn't take a skilled orator to easily persuade the audience by appealing to their emotional heartstrings. And more often than not, this method doesn't require consistency or your points be factual. One can find a cult-like following by validating the audience's emotions and insecurities, telling them that they are right and the rest are wrong. If you can keep up this facade for long enough, you can also make bank from all of this grifting work. Like the person that we're about to discuss today. This is the story of a reactionary grifter. He makes it big not by the virtues of being intelligent, but by manufacturing fake outrage for his fans, one after the other. His points may seem formidable on the outside, but once you knock its shell, you will realize that it's hollow on the inside. This is Discount Store Linguini.
And listen, making jokes on Twitter is fine, all right? Making jokes is fine. But what's not fine is trying to use propaganda techniques, basically, to influence your audience. And you can joke about it, Marky. You can meme it in your Twitter posts. But this is something that really is happening from Funimation. But the problem is, anime has been being used by certain groups to interject politics into it. And guess what? People don't watch anime to get told to vote for something or to get told that they are a terrible person for some reason. You watch anime because you want to get taken to a cool world, see cool characters, maybe some awesome fights, some cuteness here and there, slice of life, drama, sci-fi, whatever it is, different tropes, different genres, isekai, blah, 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 blah.
We begin this video with one of the most common misconceptions a lot of people seem to have. It was this notion that anime has always been apolitical and wholesome. It is a medium that seems to give people a break from a constant propaganda and agenda of these virtue-signaling SJWs on the internet. Unfortunately, that couldn't be further from the truth. Contrary to popular belief, many anime works in Japan have explicit political themes, overt or otherwise. Whether it is left-leaning, right-leaning, or anything in between, anime has it all for you. In 2013, Hayao Miyazaki released a film titled The Wind Rises. This film tells the fictional story of Jiro Hirokoshi, who eventually suffers from the crippling guilt of contributing to the Japanese imperial war machine during World War II. This film was released around the same time when Shinzo Abe was trying to remilitarize Japan, so it's safe to say that the reception was very split. Some call him honest, while others call him a traitor. Ironically, if this were to happen in the United States, people like Discount Store Linguini would say that Miyazaki is a virtue-signaling SJW. They would have a blast doing that once they knew he used to be a Marxist. Yes, you heard me correctly. He was a self-ascribed Marxist for most of his life. He has a degree in economic and political science after graduating from his alma mater. And later on, he would play a significant role in helping the labor union at Toei Animation in the 60s. Overall, a politically active leftist during his frightful years. People like Discount Store Linguini fail to understand that the Japanese fundamentally operate the same way as the rest of the world. They're not a monolithic entity that possesses the same stance on their societal issues, including politics. I mean, they have their own #MeToo movement named the #KuToo movement, but mentioning that would shatter his narrative that Western people wanted to force their way of life on the Japanese. Go a little further and you'll see that they also have their own alt-right, feminists, liberals, conservatives, capitalists, communists, and many more. Having the agency to think freely, some Japanese would craft works of art that incorporate their political beliefs. It's one of their ways to express their creativity, the same way Marvel and Dr. Seuss used to tell their own political opinions in the 40s. There's so many anime out there that follow the same pattern. Cowboy Bebop, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Attack on Titan, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, Hunter x Hunter, Death Note, Ghost in the Shell, Princess Jellyfish, Laws of the Sun, Samurai Champloo, and so much more. The argument that injecting politics in anime is a new Western agenda was not only lazy, but it's also completely wrong.
But one common theme is, from at least the numerous anime fans that I've talked to, the numerous posts I've read online, one recurring theme is that people don't watch anime to be told to watch or to vote a certain way. That's not why people are watching anime. They aren't watching it to get told to vote a certain way or lean to a certain side. So why is it that certain companies and certain people continue to interject politics into our entertainment even when we tell them that we don't want it to happen anymore? They still do it anyways. And they do it in such scummy ways as well.
It's important to note that the politics that Discount Store Linguini often talks about is stuff that he disagrees with, never stuff that they do. Because politics to him is this nebulous thing that only exists when the things he dislikes comes in. He's always been partisan, the same way the Quartering in Yellow Flash 2 has always been. His impartiality to politics is nothing more than lies. When people talk about politics in anime, they don't speak about shoehorning their political opinions for people to vote for a specific candidate. Politics in anime concerns more about espousing ideas from various different ideologies. For example, a handful of anime works that touched upon politics like Naruto and Grave of the Fireflies are anti-war. And some anime works directed by Miyazaki depict Marxist themes such as worker solidarity and distrust in technology for its potential to bring war and ruin. This is why understanding nuance is essential here, one that Discount Store Linguini failed to do, either out of sheer ignorance or he knowingly lied to his audience. The reason people like him can watch this stuff and come away believing that there's no agenda is because they have no interest in the perspectives of Japanese people or their society. And dismissing their craft to just mindless entertainment is just insulting and dehumanizing. His laziness to do simple research to verify his information led him to believe and report upon many falsehoods that made a handful of anime communities he touched on to consider him a...
Over the last half a week, I have been sent numerous emails from antis that ranged from overt spam to malware and phishing attempts. So if I have been slow responding to news tips that people have sent me, I apologize for that. That's why. Also, let me give you a warning in advance. This video is going to have less editing than usual, but I think you'll find this interesting, so hopefully you stick with me.
The VTuber community absolutely despises Discount Store Linguini, and for a good reason too. Often the stories he picked up in the VTuber community had long been resolved, or lacked credibility to be taken seriously. But he just can't help but rush these videos out to get that sweet engagement on YouTube. The combination of his lack of research, combative attitude, and his inability to apologize for his major screw-ups made him deeply reviled by the community. Even when he did his apology videos, he still had the goal to monetize it and tried to play the victim. He had all the opportunities in this world to avoid this controversy. He can just wait it out for reliable sources to come to report the issue he wants to cover. He can do it all with tact and professionalism, and people would have respected him for that. But expecting him to do all of that is akin to expecting a lion to become a vegetarian. It was never possible, especially from someone with such an inflated ego that a needle is enough to pop it. Now, you may have realized that I haven't touched upon any specific controversies that he got himself in with the VTuber community. And that's a good point. But I did this out of respect for the main people involved in this situation. The main consensus in the community seems to be that they don't want to explicitly bring the issue up again and harping upon it for too long. I can understand the reasoning behind it, but I believe that providing a bit more context on the issue is needed to explain his reactionary behavior. The vagueness of the points presented here would certainly leave him with a lot of room to weasel out from accountability, so it's better to be safe than sorry. I'll be leaving the references down in the description below. View it at your own discretion. I hope that this move doesn't overstep the community's boundaries, and I apologize in advance if I did.
We're doing it, guys. 3 Uzaki videos in one day. The meme is fully embraced. We're gonna end it with this one. Tweet crying about my coverage has almost 10,000 likes. By the time I upload this video, I hope it has over 10,000 likes. That would be great. The tweet's trying to roast me, but really it's just increasing my power level. Now I gotta call this meme out because this is just pathetic work. I've made so many more Uzaki videos than this. What's over here? You only have 10 videos in this image, it looks like. 10 videos. I've made like 19 Uzaki videos. 19 Uzaki videos.
Don't worry, babe. I will defend you.
Ah, Uzaki-chan. Discount store Linguini's favorite lady. He comes in like a knight in shining armor, making more than 30 videos defending his beloved waifu, milking the drama dry right down to its udders. Did you know all of that happened exactly a year ago? You would think that after all of the videos calling out his obsession with Uzaki-chan, he can at least take a hint and go cover something else instead. But no, he's still making videos about her until today. And because of that, it gave me an excellent reason to bring up this topic again, to remind us of the mess he had contributed to this drama. Do any of you veterans remember the time when he jumped the gun and made a terrible response video against Mera Mera? How he basically missed the mark so badly by assuming that she's talking about Uzaki-chan instead of the characters in Sailor Moon? Even after many people called him out for it, no apology can be found from him addressing it. Not even once. The worst part about the situation is how badly Mera Mera got bullied and harassed in her comment section. Keep in mind that she was 14 at the time, and most of these demeaning comments she received came after discount store Linguini made a response video against her. I refuse to believe that he doesn't have any idea of this happening at all. It's either that he lives in a cave his entire life, or that he just doesn't care, tacitly condoning this behavior.
Now let me mention something, a side note, so to speak, really quick. I made a video yesterday talking about really cringy My Hero Academia art, and someone commented on that video saying, aren't you doing the same thing you always, don't like other people doing? Referring to, like me defending this artist, for example. I'm saying it's not cool for these people to be going after this artist. So this person was basically calling me a hypocrite yesterday for my My Hero Academia video. This is apples and oranges though, man. The Hero Academia video is just looking at the art. The artist, totally anonymous. I did not talk about the artist. I did not ask for the artist to be canceled or anything like that. I was just looking at the art. It's vastly different to laugh at art that you find cringy and to actually go to the artist, try to get them driven off a platform, try to get them canceled. It's apples and oranges.
A few hints can be seen pointing to the latter being the case. One of them is that he makes a video attacking 2 artists on Twitter for daring to draw Uzaki-chan differently. The fact that he got really worked up over mere drawings amuses me, considering that he has a record of calling people out on Twitter for this exact reason. I just can't help but taste the irony of it all. Like some sort of ritual, after he makes a video on people he dunked on, his fans followed suit. And when Silly Rally pointed this out, discount store Linguini also didn't say anything.
Both of these artists have been sent death threats. Like you said, we're having fun and you're just memeing. Now here we are. It's no longer fun and games. Now it's gotten really personal. Calling this artist a bigot when it's not even that deep. Calling this artist for whitewashing when it's not even that deep.
I know he's a busy man, but for someone whose job is to hound for something on the internet to get mad over, you would think that he watched that video at some point and realized what the hell is happening. It's clear that he relished in the chaos he created. He has no qualms in letting cancel culture run its course if it's his fans who are doing it, not the other way around. The double standards are very apparent when you remember that he spoke against this topic many times in his YouTube channel. It's only acceptable if it's convenient for him.
That said, I think it's very lame to try and get a bunch of people together to witch hunt an artist because you don't like their art. And what makes this story so good is that the artist wasn't having it. Let's take a look at that next.
Let's face it, he probably doesn't know a thing about responsibility, accountability, and consistency. He never cares and never will be. This is the reason why engaging with him in good faith is impossible. He's spiteful, self-centered, and vindictive. These traits are all the more reason why nobody should take him seriously, whether he wants to talk about anime news or otherwise.
Setting aside the question of whether or not anime has become more mainstream in overseas markets, access to it has definitely gotten much easier for non-Japanese media consumers, and an anime with content they find objectionable now risks leaving money on the table. Money that can be used to help secure the long-term stability of a franchise and bankroll the continuing content production. I guess maybe it should say for the continuing of content production or something like that, but you get the idea. So here's the thing. Here's why that's a bad take. Because if you're going to adjust your product for a new target market, you are essentially pushing the old target market away, especially in a situation like this where both demographics don't really like each other at all. So if a company, if an industry, by and large, starts targeting a new market that is vastly different than the old one and they don't get along, what do you think that's going to do? Do you really want to play that game where you get greedy and say, well, there's money on the table? Well, then say goodbye to all the money you had up to that point. The little pocket change on the table, it ain't worth the full bank.
Yes, opening up to new audiences is a way for companies to make more profit. But what discount store Linguini and his ilk don't seem to understand is why companies feel compelled to do that. Capitalism incentivizes companies to make maximum profits. Sticking to a fixed number of users visiting and buying your products is not exactly a sound business decision long term. This is especially true if you're dabbling in the media and entertainment industry.
I will say this much, we've already seen some woke anime try to succeed and fail terribly to the point where they had to end up canceling the planned amount of episodes that they were going to originally air and produce. I'm looking at you, Stars Align. Not a good look.
It's not about enforcing the Western values as much as it is about their active avoidance of losing out on any major markets out there. No company are shallow enough to lose profits this way. They will do everything in their power to keep the markets happy, even at the cost of aggravating the pre-existing users. As much as they like to pretend to hear passionate gatekeepers like you, money always talks in the end. Companies will always make a concerted effort in developing a product that is as sanitized and inoffensive as possible. Those who fail to adapt with the standards that they're beholden to would either be left out or snuffed, lest they want to end up like LiveLeak. Why do you think YouTube today is vastly different from what it was 5 years ago? The time in which people can freely say the N-word or make edgy jokes to their heart's content. Why do you think VTuber companies in Japan are so afraid to offend China in any capacity? Why do you think OnlyFans decided to be more palatable to make the payment providers they're dependent on happy? And why do companies generally have no qualms to bend the knee for authoritarian governments regarding censorship? For better or worse, this is the consequence of capitalism. Advertisers want profits and they want their reputation to be squeaky clean. On the other hand, companies have to do their best to appease the advertisers to even have the chance to compete economically. It's an inevitable cycle, one that you can see everywhere around you. As I said, pre-existing users have little sway over what companies wanted to do with their products. Anime is no exception. Eventually, the only thing that you can do about it is to deal with it.
I don't know why they obsess over me so much, and to be quite honest, there are other creators as well that have come after me on Twitter that aren't as well known as these two are. But I've noticed a recurring theme between all of them, and there's about 5 of them. And that recurring theme is that all of them seem to have given up on their own YouTube channels. They don't even actually make content anymore. So I think what's going on here is jealousy. But hold on, because that's not the main thing. I think the main thing is they are actually self-spiteful. They're very upset with themselves, and then the jealousy comes next. That's why these people tweet so much but never actually put out any content. They don't want to put in the work. They're jealous of the people who do, and more than that, they hate themselves.
This is supposed to be the part where I conclude that he has a fragile ego. So much so, he needs to pump out these emotionally charged videos to compensate for his insecurities. Then I thought long and hard about it while recovering from my wounds, and I decided to go for a different approach. I realized that there's no point in me ripping through discount store Linguini. He's proud to be the nasty, insufferable individual he's always been. Even after this video comes out, nothing about him will change. And I can tell from miles away that whatever points I've made against him will be misconstrued as me being jealous of his success. The only thing that I can do is make this video to address you, his fans, not him. I've shown you several instances which proved him to be the most unreliable news source for anything. He can do all of the nasty things mentioned and keep getting away with it because there's no accountability in place. Those who do criticize him will get harassed on the internet by his diehard fans. Ask yourself, If he's not as bad as what a lot of people make him out to be, then why does his nasty behavior keep on repeating itself after all these years? And why didn't he say anything when his fans keep harassing individuals off of the internet for simply disagreeing with him? On top of this, his videos are nothing more than just confirmation bias food. It's the only reason his videos do well as they did, because those who consume that media want to feel good about themselves. Ultimately, watching videos of SJWs getting owned is just short bursts of dopamine rush. It's easier for us to find somebody big to feed our biases than to understand arguments or nuance presented by those who they deem as unreasonable. Sometimes it's scary to know that at any moment, our biases may be proven wrong. But being proven wrong is not the end of the world. Far from it, really. I've been proven wrong many times before, and sometimes it can be very embarrassing. But the knowledge you gain after being enlightened on a topic is what enriches you as a person, not hinder it. I'm not the smartest guy in the room, and I never claimed to be one. But the experience of slowly learning things I was ignorant of in the past taught me a lot about humility. You can read up on so many things before you realize the sheer amount of topics you don't quite understand. And that's okay. It's better to admit we might not know everything in this world than to assume that we do. Some of you may argue that making this video is exactly what he wants, but I beg to differ. I still want to hold on to the hope that perhaps some of you who are fans of his may change your minds and see him for what he is, just a reactionary grifter. All he knows is how to weaponize the mob mentality and manipulate it to his benefit. More often than not, anti-SJWs like Discount Store Linguini are just as bad as the SJWs that they've mocked so much. And I wanted you to see that. He doesn't deserve any of you, and neither should you be feeding into his ego machine, growing it into such ungodly proportions. As long as there's validation to be had from his grifting work, he will keep on doing what he does best until hell freezes over. And it will come to the point where somebody is going to get hurt. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm sorry that this video took a long time to make. I have to delay it because I have to double check the script to make the video as robust as possible. It didn't go well for me. I got myself in a bike accident one day and my fingers are out of commission for a few days. Now that things have gone back to normal, I wanted to keep grinding out more content, so I hope this will be something you look forward to. Also, we have finally reached 10,000 subscribers. I never expected this channel to go as far as it did. The fact you've given the trust in the type of content that I've made, it humbled me greatly. I wanted to keep proving my worth to you all, and I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you so much for all of your support. I couldn't have done it without you all. And thank you so much for my supporters on Patreon, especially to my $10 patrons, Vladameton and Zahar. If you would like to support my channel, Patreon is the best place to do so. If you have a spare change at the end of the month, do consider supporting me there. Thank you. And also, do consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It really does help me out a lot, and you can always unsubscribe at any time you want. Thank you. And as always, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.